ladies and gentlemen. Have you ever had someone hurt you, leave you behind like you meant nothing, only for them to show up later, acting as if nothing happened? Why do they come back? Is it love? Is it regret? Or is it something deeper? Many times, those who hurt you come back not because they love you, but because they miss the access they once had to you. When someone walks away, they often assume that they can return whenever they please, believing that the door they shut will always be open. They may not have valued you when they had you, but they valued the benefits of being connected to you, your kindness, your emotional support, your time, your loyalty, and even the way you made them feel about themselves. But here's the reality. Missing access to you is not the same as missing you. When people return after hurting you, it's often because they realize that what they took for granted was actually rare. They believed they could replace you, that they could find someone else who would treat them the way you did, but life has a way of revealing the truth. They discover that not everyone will be as patient, as forgiving, as understanding as you were. The world outside the relationship they abandoned is not as welcoming as they expected. They thought they were leaving for something better, but instead they found disappointment. And so they return, not because they've changed, not because they've suddenly developed a new level of respect for you, but because they want access to the comfort you provided. You see, people often confuse love with convenience. They confuse appreciation with entitlement. When they had access to you, they think twice about how much effort you put into the relationship, how much energy you gave, how much you sacrificed. But when they no longer have that access, they feel the loss, not necessarily of you as a person, but of what you represented in their life. You were their safe space, their emotional anchor, their source of support. And when they lose that, they panic. Some people return because they miss being able to use you as an emotional crutch. They come back when they feel lost, when life isn't going as they planned, when their new situation is not as fulfilling as they imagined. But pay close attention. Do they return only when they need something? Do they only show up when they feel lonely, when they need reassurance, when they want to be comforted? If so, then they don't love you. They love the way you serve them. This is why it's so important to discern the difference between genuine remorse and selfish motives. When someone comes back after hurting you, ask yourself, are they apologizing because they truly regret their actions, or are they just trying to regain what they lost? Are they here to rebuild trust, or are they just looking for another opportunity to take advantage of your kindness? If someone truly values you, they would never have risked losing you in the first place. And if they did, they would return with humility, with accountability, with actions that align with their words. But if they return only because they lost their comfort, then their presence in your life is not love, it's convenience. And you deserve more than that. People are naturally drawn to what is familiar. Even when they leave a relationship, a friendship, or a connection, they often find themselves wanting to return, not necessarily because it is right, but because it is what they know. The mind craves comfort, and the heart clings to what it recognizes. This is why even those who hurt you, who walked away without a second thought, may suddenly find themselves coming back. It's not always about love, regret, or even missing you as a person. Sometimes it's simply because they're struggling to adapt to something new, and the familiarity of being with you feels easier than facing the unknown. When someone leaves, they often believe they are moving on to something better. They tell themselves that there is something more exciting, more fulfilling, or more rewarding beyond the connection they had with you. But what they fail to realize is that every new situation comes with its own challenges, its own struggles, and its own set of difficulties. Once they step into the unknown, they may quickly realize that what they thought was better is actually just different, and not necessarily in a way that brings them peace. That is when they start to miss what they once had, not because they suddenly appreciate you more, but because the new reality they stepped into does not provide the same comfort they felt with you. This is why many people return, not out of love, but out of habit. They become uncomfortable in their new situation and start longing for what is familiar. They remember the way you made them feel, the way you were always there, the way you provided them with security. And when they realize that what they walked into does not offer that same stability, they start retracing their steps. But here's the important thing to understand. Just because someone returns does not mean they have changed. It does not mean they have suddenly become a better person or that they now recognize your worth. It could simply mean they're afraid of being alone, afraid of having to start over, or afraid of facing the discomfort of growth. Many people do not leave because they are unhappy. They leave because they are restless. They chase something new, something different, believing that change will bring them fulfillment. But when they realize that happiness was not in the newness, but in the depth of what they already had. They start to look back. However, looking back does not mean they are ready to move forward with you in a meaningful way. It just means they are uncomfortable in their present. You must ask yourself, is this person returning because they truly value you, or are they simply seeking shelter in what is familiar? Are they coming back with the intention to build something stronger, or are they just trying to escape their own discomfort? Just because someone is comfortable with you does not mean they are good for you. And just because they miss the familiarity does not mean they deserve another chance. When someone sees you growing, healing, and thriving after they have hurt you, it forces them to confront their own stagnation. They may have walked away believing that you would struggle without them, that you would be lost, or that you would never rise beyond the pain they caused. But when they see you moving forward, stronger, wiser, and more successful, it triggers something in them. It reminds them of what they lost. But even more than that, it highlights their own lack of growth. This is one of the biggest reasons people return after hurting you, not because they have changed, but because they realize that you have. Growth has a way of exposing people. When you elevate, it magnifies those who have remained the same. Some people cannot handle the realization that the person they underestimated, the person they hurt, the person they thought would never move on has now become someone they no longer have access to. It makes them question themselves. It forces them to reflect on their own choices. And many times, they don't like what they see. Instead of taking responsibility for their actions and growing themselves, they try to reconnect with you, hoping to regain a position in your life, one they no longer deserve. This is why many people return, not out of love or regret, but out of insecurity. They see your success, your peace, your happiness, and they realize that they were not as important to your journey as they once believed. It is a blow to their ego. They expected you to break, but instead you built yourself up. They thought leaving you would weaken you, but instead it made you stronger. And now their return is not about making things right. It's about making themselves feel better. Some people do not want to see you do better without them. They do not want to believe that you have moved on while they have remained the same. So they come back not to celebrate your growth, but to see if they can still influence you, if they can still pull you back into the past. They may suddenly act like they care, like they regret everything, but deep down, they are testing to see if they still have a hold on you, if they can still control your emotions, your decisions, and your heart. But here's the truth. When someone truly values you, they would never have put you in a position where you had to grow without them in the first place. They would have supported your growth instead of forcing you to find strength through their absence. So when they return, ask yourself, are they here because they have grown? Or are they here because they cannot stand the fact that I have? Because the reality is some people do not come back to add to your life. They come back to remind themselves that they once had a place in it, and you do not have to give them that satisfaction. When people leave, they often believe that they are walking away cleanly, that they are cutting ties and moving forward. But emotional connections are rarely that simple. Even when someone walks away physically, their heart and mind may still be tethered to the relationship in ways they don't fully understand. This is why they come back, not necessarily because they love you, but because something inside them remains unresolved. They thought they could move on without looking back, but as time passes, they realize that letting go is harder than they expected. Unfinished emotional attachments are powerful when a connection is deep. It does not break easily, even if they were the ones who hurt you, even if they were the ones who walked away. They may still feel a lingering pull toward you. They may still think about the memories you shared, the way you made them feel, and the presence you had in their life. And even if they don't admit it, part of them starts to wonder, did I make a mistake? Did I lose something I should have fought for? But here's the problem. Sometimes this feeling of attachment is not about love. It is about control. It is about ego. Some people come back not because they truly care, but because they struggle with the idea of you moving on without them. They don't want to be with you, but they also don't want you to be free of them. They want to linger in your mind the same way you linger in theirs. So they return, not to rebuild something healthy, but to see if they can still keep you emotionally tied to them. This is why it's so important to recognize the difference between unfinished emotions and true commitment. Just because someone feels drawn to you does not mean they are ready to love you the way you deserve. Just because they miss you does not mean they are willing to change. Some people confuse missing someone with needing them, and they mistake loneliness for love. But real love is not just about missing someone, it is about choosing to be better for them. If they return with the same mindset, the same behaviors, and the same patterns, then nothing has truly changed. The question is not whether they still feel something for you. The real question is, what do they plan to do about it? Do they return with intention, with clarity, with the willingness to heal and grow? Or are they just seeking comfort, seeking validation, seeking to ease their own emotional unrest without considering what is best for you? Not all unfinished attachments are meant to be resolved by reconnecting. Sometimes the closure you need is realizing that not everything that comes back should be welcome back. When someone returns, don't just listen to their words, watch their actions. Because true love does not just return, it restores, it rebuilds, and it proves itself. And if they cannot do that, then their return is not about love, it's about their own inability to let go. Some people return to your life not because they love you, not because they regret hurting you, but because they want to test whether they still have power over you. They want to see if they can still control your emotions, if they can still get a reaction from you, if they can still influence your decisions. Their return is not about reconciliation, it's about reassurance. They want to know that even after all the pain they caused, they still matter to you in some way. And if you are not careful, you might mistake their presence for love when it is really just a game of control. Control does not always look aggressive. Sometimes it looks like a friendly text after months or years of silence. It looks like sudden kindness, unexpected apologies, or nostalgic conversations about the good times you shared. But beneath the surface, the real question they are asking is, do I still have access to you? Can I still make you feel something, whether it's anger, sadness, longing, or hope? If they can trigger an emotional reaction, they feel like they haven't lost their grip on you. This is why some people only come back when they sense you are truly moving on. As long as you are hurting, as long as you are struggling, they may not feel the need to return. But the moment you start healing, the moment you start smiling again, the moment you begin to reclaim your peace, they suddenly show up. It is as if they can feel your energy shifting and they do not like the idea of losing their influence. They do not necessarily want to be with you. They just do not want you to be completely free of them. Be careful of those who return only when they feel you slipping away. A person who truly loves you will not play with your emotions like a game of tug of war. They will not leave only to return when they sense they are losing their grip on you. Real love does not need to test its power. It nurtures, it builds, and it strengthens. But control is different. It thrives on uncertainty, on confusion, on keeping you emotionally attached, even when they have no real intention of staying. When someone comes back, ask yourself, are they here to love me or are they here to prove something to themselves? Are they showing consistency, growth, and a desire to truly make things right? Or are they just checking to see if they can still get your attention? Because if a person truly regrets hurting you, their actions will show it. They will not just reappear when it is convenient for them. They will show commitment, accountability, and a willingness to build something better. Do not mistake manipulation for love. If someone only returns to see if they still have control over you, do not give them that satisfaction. Let them see that their presence no longer affects you. Let them realize that the power they once had is gone. And most importantly, let yourself walk forward, unshaken, unmoved, and free. When someone leaves your life and later returns, one of the most important questions you must ask yourself is whether they have truly changed. It is easy for someone to say they regret what they did, to offer apologies, and to promise that things will be different this time. But words are easy. True change is revealed through consistent actions. Many people come back not because they have changed, but because they assume you have remained the same. They assume you are still the person who tolerated their mistreatment, who forgave them without question, who accepted their half-hearted efforts. They expect you to welcome them back with open arms, forgetting the damage they caused. Real change is not about saying the right things. It is about doing the hard work of self-reflection, growth, and accountability. Many people want the benefits of a second chance without the responsibility of earning it. They may act differently for a while, but soon their old patterns resurface because they never truly dealt with the issues that caused them to leave or hurt you in the first place. They may have missed you, but missing someone is not the same as being ready to treat them right. This is why you must observe, not just listen. When they return, pay attention to whether they are taking responsibility for their past actions. Are they acknowledging how they hurt you, or are they just trying to move past it without true accountability? Are they making an effort to rebuild trust, or are they expecting things to go back to the way they were without doing the necessary work? A person who has truly changed will not rush the process. They will understand that trust is rebuilt over time and that their words must be backed up by consistent effort. Sometimes people return because they cannot find what they had with you elsewhere. But that does not mean they are ready to be better. It just means they are disappointed with their other options. Do not allow yourself to be someone's second choice simply because they realize how valuable you were after losing you. You deserve to be with someone who recognizes your worth from the start, not just when they feel lonely or regretful. Another sign of true change is emotional maturity. Have they grown in the way they handle conflict, communication, and commitment, or are they still reacting the same way they did before? Many people return with the same mindset, hoping that time alone will fix things. But time does not change people. Intention and effort do. Do not be so eager to believe in someone's words that you ignore their patterns. A changed person does not just say, "I'm different now." They show it in the way they respect your boundaries, in their consistency, and in the way they take responsibility for their past mistakes. If they are only saying what you want to hear, but their actions remain the same, then they have not truly changed. And you owe it to yourself to walk away from anything that does not align with your peace, growth, and self-respect. When people return after hurting you, it is rarely as simple as love or regret. More often, it is about access, familiarity, discomfort with your growth, unresolved emotions, a need for control, or an illusion of change. Understanding why they come back allows you to make wiser choices, not based on emotions or nostalgia, but on truth and discernment. You must recognize that not everyone who misses you deserves a place in your life. Some people return out of convenience, not commitment. They come back because they see you thriving and want to regain the control they once had. Others return because they cannot handle the reality that you have moved on. But no matter the reason, their return is not what matters. Your response is, The real question is not whether they still want you, but whether they are capable of treating you the way you deserve. Have they grown, or are they simply seeking comfort? Have they changed, or do they just want to see if they still have power over you? True transformation is not in words, but in consistent actions. And if they have not proven that they are different, then their presence in your life is a risk, not a blessing. Some doors must remain closed. Some chapters must stay finished. Not every return is a sign of redemption. Sometimes it is just a test to see if you have truly learned your worth. You do not need to reopen the past to prove you have healed. Real healing is when their return does not shake you, does not confuse you, and does not tempt you to lower your standards. So when they come back, do not just ask if they miss you, ask if they deserve you. Because love is not just about who wants you. It is about who values, respects, and nurtures you. And if they cannot offer that, then their return means nothing. Let them see that you are not where they left you. Let them realize that their absence did not break you, it built you. And let yourself move forward with wisdom, strength, and the peace of knowing that you deserve better.